The father of the modern running shoe is Adolf Dassler, who began making shoes in 1920. American track star Jesse Owens reportedly wore shoes gifted to him by Dassler at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Owens' medal-winning performances led to popularity for the Dassler brand around the world. Adolf, nicknamed Adi, and his brother Rudolf sought to grow the family business, but personal disagreements led to the business splitting in two, with Rudolf going one way with his business, which eventually became Puma, and Adi going another with what we know today as Adidas. Nike entered the picture in 1964, though it wasn't called Nike until 1971. The company was created by University of Oregon runner Phil Knight and his coach Bill Bowerman to sell their own branded running shoes. The company has since grown to become the most valuable sports brand in the world. Today, many of the most notable and successful athletes in the world are partnered with Nike. Eliud Kipchoge is one of these athletes, though it's likely you haven't heard of him if you aren't a distance runner. Kipchoge had a successful racing career on the track before switching over to the marathon in 2013. He claimed a bronze medal in the 5,000 meter at the 2004 Athens Olympics and silver in the 5,000 meter at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. He also won gold for the 5,000 meter at the 2003 World Championships in Paris, and again claimed silver in the event at the 2007 World Championships in Osaka. Since moving from racing on the track to the road, Kipchoge has been nearly unbeaten. His first marathon was in Hamburg, Germany in 2013, where he set a course record of 2:05:30. Later that year, he placed second at the Berlin Marathon with a time of 2:04:05. Since that race, Kipchoge has won every single marathon he's entered, including Chicago, London 4 times, Berlin 3 times, and the Rio Olympics. His 2018 Berlin performance of 2:01:39 set a new world record by over a minute. Having proved himself among the top marathoners in the world, Kipchoge was approached by Nike in 2016 to attempt to do something that seemed impossible: break the 2-hour barrier in the marathon. Running 26.2 miles in under 2 hours requires maintaining an average pace of 4 minutes and 34.5 seconds per mile. The world record at the time was 2:02:57 by fellow Kenyan Dennis Kimeto. Dropping 3 minutes off the world record was almost laughable, but Nike believed that if it could be done, Kipchoge was the man who could do it. The challenge, titled Breaking 2, featured 32-year-old Kipchoge along with 2 other elite distance runners, 27-year-old Lelisa Desisa from Ethiopia and 35-year-old Zersene Tedese from Eritrea. These 3 runners would also have the support of 30 other world-class runners as pacers. The attempt would take place in May 2017 on a Formula One racing track in Monza, Italy. The location was picked for its close to ideal weather conditions, as well as it being flat and easy for loops, making it easier for the interchanging pacers. Leading up to the attempt, Nike scientists and engineers had been working for years on developing the perfect marathon shoe. They developed a new foam which they called ZoomX, which is made from Pebax, a type of soft and springy high-tech polymer used in aerospace innovation. Nike's focus on developing this foam was coming up with something lightweight but also responsive and that offered high energy return. The shoe also featured a carbon fiber plate along its sole, which acted as a stabilizer for the runner's ankles, improved efficiency, and reduced wasted energy. This highly engineered shoe, called the Nike Zoom Vaporfly Elite, was the first of its kind, and was hoped to give Kipchoge the best chance he could have at going under 2 hours. He ended up crossing the line in 2 hours and 25 seconds, with Tedese running 2:06:51 and Desisa coming in at 2:14:10. Though the attempt was not successful, Kipchoge proved that it was certainly possible. Over 2 years later, in October 2019, another similar challenge was hosted in Vienna by Ineos, a chemical manufacturing company. Once again, the attempt was on a controlled, closed course, but this time Kipchoge was the sole competitor, though he again had pacers around him. In this subsequent attempt, Kipchoge successfully broke the 2-hour barrier with a time of 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 40 seconds. He had unofficially shattered his own world record of 2:01:39, but the performance did not officially count due to the interchanging pacers. On his feet in Vienna was a prototype of the Nike Air Zoom Alphafly Next Percent, the second younger brother to the original Vaporfly Elites. Those Vaporfly Elites from the first Breaking 2 challenge were released to the public in July 2017 under the name Nike Zoom Vaporfly 4%. The 4% was derived from the claim that they improved a runner's efficiency by 4%, which, though it may seem minuscule, can add up to minutes improvement over a marathon. The next released version of the shoe was named the Nike Zoom X Vaporfly Next Percent, which was released to the public in July 2019. It was called the Next Percent because with 15% more Zoom X foam and a lighter upper, Tests showed that the shoes possibly increased efficiency by up to 7 or even 8%. This was the shoe that Kipchoge wore in his official Berlin 2018 marathon world record. The Alphaflys that Kipchoge wore in the Ineos Challenge were once again even more advanced than previous versions. Even more ZoomX foam, a new lighter upper called Atom Knit, and 2 Air Zoom pods in the forefoot all combined to make the Alphafly even more responsive. The advantage given to Kipchoge by these shoes led many to say that he was provided with an unfair mechanical advantage, and they believed that the shoes should be banned from competition. This led World Athletics, the governing body of all things track and field, to come to a decision on whether the super shoes should be allowed or not in competition. The rulebook of World Athletics previously stated that shoes must not be constructed so as to give athletes any unfair assistance or advantage, but that provided no clear details about exact shoe specifications that were and were not allowed. In January 2020, nearly 3 years after the release of the first Vaporflys, World Athletics released a statement stating that they had updated their rulebook. These updates featured tighter restrictions on the allowed specifications for shoes, including that no shoes with a sole thicker than 40 millimeters or containing more than one plate in it may be allowed in competition. They also announced that beginning April 30th of 2020, any shoe used in competition must have been available for purchase for at least 4 months prior to the competition. This would mean that Kipchoge could no longer wear prototypes of unreleased Nike shoes. The Vaporfly and Alphafly shoes are within the new standards set by World Athletics, allowing them to continue to be used in competition as long as the worn versions have been released publicly. Despite the critiques and controversy over the Vaporfly shoe, it has been the top choice by most world-class marathoners. The top 3 male finishers in the 2020 US Olympic marathon trials were wearing Vaporflys, with the first 2 in the Alphaflys and the third sporting the Next Percent. One of the top 3 female finishers had on the Next Percent, with the other 2 wearing shoes that also had carbon fiber plates. In fact, 94% of finishers at the trials were wearing shoes with carbon fiber plates, and over 37% of them were the Next Percent from Nike. Even some runners under contracts with other brands rocked the Vaporflys and attempted to cover up the Nike logo. Since the release of the Vaporflys in 2017, multiple other shoe brands have released or are yet to release their version of the shoe. ASICS has released the Metaride, Hoka One One with its Carbon X, Adidas has updated the Boosts, On Running has the Cloud Swift, New Balance came out with the Fuel Cell, and there are still many others. Not everyone is in favor of these highly advanced shoes, however. Former Nike athlete Kara Goucher placed 4th at the 2016 US Olympic Marathon Trials, missing the Olympics by just 1 place, and 2 of the women that finished ahead of her had on early prototypes of the Vaporfly. In an interview with Forbes, Goucher stated that though there's no way to know if it was the shoes that kept her out of the Olympics, she felt like it wasn't a level playing field. The Vaporflys have continually proved their effectiveness, with both the women's marathon world record and the men's half marathon world record also being broken in the Next Percent in the last year. I personally support World Athletics' ruling to place strict limitations on the specifications of shoes in competition, and I also support not fully banning the Vaporflys. Nike is not the first brand to put very responsive material in its running shoes. The marathon world record performance by Dennis Cometto in 2014 was done in a pair of Adidas shoes made with highly responsive material as well. And with multiple other brands now releasing their own similar shoes, I think we are just in a new era of running shoes driven by innovation and technology. I believe that innovation should be encouraged in sport to be able to further test the limits of our athletes. This enables us to fully support the belief that Eliud Kipchoge runs with, that no human is limited.